What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the RGR Football Channel. Today, it's the playoffs, so we have to start getting into a little bit more of a different routine, and we're going to take a sneak peek at this Sunday game against the Buffalo Bills. It's not going to look like it did in Week 5. I was actually at that game, and I can tell you right now, it's going to be a completely different atmosphere. I think that the fans are really going to help this team out, and the Bills, as much as the Chiefs are a different team than we saw in Week 5, I think that their defense has some bigger holes. One of the only times they played a good quarterback in the last, actually since they played the Chiefs, they gave up 33 points to the Buccaneers. I really do believe that the Chiefs have a good opportunity in front of them playing this game at home against the Bills, not in 1 degree temperature. It's still going to be cold, but it's not going to be anywhere near that. And I do think that as much as the Chiefs struggled to move the ball in that game, turned the ball over 4 times, they didn't get everything on the same page defensively. Obviously, Chris Jones missed that game. Charvarius Ward missed that game. Willie Gay was on injured reserve, I think. Nick Bolton wasn't playing a whole lot. Dan Sorensen was playing 100% of the snaps. There's a lot of different things that we're going to see on this Chiefs team on Sunday that it didn't happen in Week 5. And the first thing we're going to talk about on the Bills side is an emergence of this run game. The Bills are finally starting to use Josh Allen more as a real running threat. But not just him, Devin Singletary has emerged as the real commitment to the run game unfolds. They've stopped the two running back by committee type approach, and they've done a very good job of establishing the run, honestly. Their offensive line still isn't great in terms of run block win percentage, but they're doing, like I said, a very good job of finding lanes for Devin Singletary. 4 out of the last 5 games for Singletary, over 80 yards rushing. In that same 5-game span, he scored 7 touchdowns. He's been a big part of this whole emergence of the offense being very balanced, and even going into Week 5, the Bills started to use a little bit more 2 tight end sets, use a little bit more fullback, but now they've really committed to finding the one running back for their team that's going to carry the load, and that's Devin Singletary. He's really done a good job of taking advantage of everything and showing them that he deserves to be the guy. When you combine him with Josh Allen's running ability, they're a team that can really start to amass rushing yards at a big, large pace. Like Josh Allen can get 20 plus yards in one rush, and that really adds to the strain on a defense. And I do think that it's going to be more important this week to try to stop the run. You're going to see the Bills probably do some QB option and some zone read and things like that to get him on the move and to commit defenders to a pace where you have to add the quarterback to that rushing promise. Okay, so I think the defense is going to have to be much more disciplined. They'll have to be better coached in their rushing lanes. Chris Jones can't always be as freelancing as he does in this case, because he misses one of those gaps, Josh Allen's going to be gone, or did Devin Singletary be gone for a long game? So it's not the scariest thing in the world for me to see this rushing attack. It's just the simple fact that they've become more efficient in the way that they play the game. And as much as the Chiefs don't want to stop the run, they did a good job against, albeit the Steelers, to stop the run first and force them into 3rd and long situations. It'll be a different situation with Josh Allen. They want to get those 3rd and long situations. I think they're going to get those 3rd and long situations. It's all going to be about how they can stay in those rush lanes and get to him. But from that, we're going to go over to a little bit of a different approach in the fact that their Bills defense, like I said, hasn't really played a top-level quarterback since that Week 5 game against Patrick Mahomes, where, like I said, they turned the ball over 4 times. It wasn't the same offense that we're seeing right now. Even to this point, the last month or so, this offense has been better. They haven't been turning the ball over as much. They've been much more sound with their concepts and getting to some of the things that worked in 2019, for example. They've done a lot more of that too, getting the screen game going, something they couldn't do earlier in the season. All of this really, for me, encapsulates the fact that they can take advantage of this Bills defense. Yes, Jordan Poyer is a great safety. I think that he's going to be a key in that game for them. But without Tre'Davious White, you're going to find situations for Byron Pringle, for McCole Hardman, for the Demarcus Robinsons of the world to get theirs, like they did against the Steelers. I think it's another game where you have situations similar to that, and you can take advantage of some of that. And I do believe that you're going to see more Byron Pringle, more McCole Hardman, trying to find space for them, because Tyreek Hill is going to get some of his. Travis Kelce is going to get some of his too. And I think that that's where the defense is going to clearly strict. But the way that the Chiefs have been spreading the ball around recently, it's not so much anymore shut down Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and who else can beat us? Because we've seen Mahomes finally start to get more comfortable with throwing the ball to Byron Pringle. Demarcus Robinson finding huge space last game. McCole Hardman getting more involved in different ways. So I think defenses really have to do a good job of getting that third committee wide receiver essentially, and Patrick Mahomes can take advantage of this defense. And like I mentioned earlier, Tom Brady put up 33 points on this defense. I do think that they're susceptible to throwing the football. Their defensive front's much better against the run, but this offensive line that the Chiefs have got out there has the chemistry. They've meshed. They've figured things out. You guys watched Jerick McKinnon in that game against the Steelers. Some of the reasons that he was able to find these lanes and be patient was because the holes. He was just like, he was just running up into it, and it was just an entire space formed around him so he could pick and choose where he wanted to go. But the thing about him is that he was able to make those decisions quickly and get acceleration while he was doing all of these things and finding those rushing lanes. The offensive line has been big time. This front four for the Bills is not what we saw in Pittsburgh. They're good, they're well coached, but they are not to the level of two all-pro players in Casey Hayward or not Casey, or Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt. Those two guys are different, okay? And I think that last time they were out, the whole team just didn't have that chemistry down. This offensive line's got chemistry. Mahomes understands the offensive line. Now, the strengths and the weaknesses of it, I think he's really starting to get not just that, but how he can manipulate and use a defense's front four's like advantages against them and figure all that out. He did it with TJ Watt. And after the first quarter, he was able to see what he was doing and take advantage of that. So Mahomes is the best quarterback that they've played since Tom Brady. And it's a large margin. You have the Zach Wilsons of the world, the Mac Joneses, and the Matt Ryans. They didn't, like I said, they didn't play anybody quarterback wise. So that's why they've been putting up these points and really just kind of being able to salt games away with the run game. I expect the Chiefs to come out quickly and try to put points on the board and force this Bills team to become one-dimensional. Get a few stops on defense early. We've seen the defense be able to do that in some of these big games. Get out early and let the offense go to work. And I think that's what they're going to try and do again against Josh Allen. It's not going to be as easy, obviously, as it was last year. It's going to be much more difficult. He's a much more mentally there quarterback, and he's obviously a great runner too. So that whole aspect of the two quarterbacks playing in this game is going to be incredible. And we'll say that Josh Allen's kind of a streaky player. Typically, when we see him have those huge completion percentage games, last week against the Patriots, he had an 84% completion percentage. He comes down off of that and gets into the 60s and the 50s. That's one of the things. I looked at his completion percentage. It's not everything, guys. Completion percentage isn't everything, okay? It doesn't make for a great quarterback or a bad quarterback sometimes. But typically, these games that I saw him when he has those dips in his completion percentage, it's really all or nothing kind of games. And you get the big plays or you don't. And when they're taking those shots, he's more susceptible to throwing interceptions. That's what they need to do in this game, is that the Bills just had their greatest offensive performance of the season and one of the greatest offensive performances that has ever been recorded in NFL history. Okay? How do you come off of that and play the exact same way? Not at home. Against the reigning AFC champions. I know that they're going to have something to say about this game, the Bills, at the end of the day. They're going to be able to put up points. I don't think this is going to be anything near of what we saw against the Steelers, where they just can't do anything because it's a completely different offense. And I think that we're looking at a game that can get into that 30-40 range in terms of the final score. We're not going to give away what I think is going to happen in this game. I'm just getting you guys prepared for what I think are some points to really look at. Now, when I think of the Bills, I think that Josh Allen isn't equipped to do what Patrick Mahomes has done. I don't think he's just there where he can dink and dunk his way down the field and sustain drives like that. I think that he's looking for the big play. Juan Thornhill, in my opinion, is a huge key for this game because it allows the Chiefs to play your cover two. It allows them to play some single high, but still have that range and take away some of the deep shots that you're going to see the Bills try, okay? Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie have come on lately. Isaiah McKenzie has been utilized more as a I will just use a like situation because there's nowhere near Deebo Samuel's ability, but he's getting the ball in the backfield. He's getting more on jet sweeps. He's getting involved more with his speed and quickness, elusiveness in the game. So I expect them to come out and try to create big plays. Now, keeping everybody in front of you is one thing, but getting to Josh Allen is another thing. They have to be able to create pressure early, get him off of his spot, get him rushing to the outside. You don't want him rushing from the outside inside. If you miss those rush lanes and the interior pressure, you're going to have some issues, and he's going to be able to get out and create plays. But if you can force him to not go forward, but instead come around, that's going to allow Melvin Ingram. It's going to allow your linebackers to flow freely to him and not let him get upfield so quickly. The one thing I'm looking for in this game on the defensive pressure side is getting that interior pressure. Obviously, Chris Jones, healthy in this game, is going to have something to say. But Darrell Williams, their offensive lineman, has been I believe he's their right tackle. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I do believe he's playing right tackle for them. He has given up the most sacks this year for the Bills at 4 and the most pressures on the offensive line at 9. I think you can find Melvin Ingram having some success out there, okay? I think you're going to have a bigger, stronger player in Frank Clark on the left side, so the right side of the defense. Have Chris Jones in there. I think getting some interior defensive end pressure, maybe getting Frank Clark on the inside a little bit, and have some of your defensive tackles kind of stunting around and stuff like that. I think you can take advantage of some of the interior players that they have with some of your bigger, stronger guys and try to get after Josh Allen up the middle and allow the defense to flow to him when he tries to escape some of that. Getting home and getting those sacks, efficient tackling in this game is going to be paramount. You can't let Josh Allen escape. You can't let some of these other guys, Stephon Diggs and the rest of their playmakers, create missed tackles. We've seen the tackling go dipping down a little bit on this defense over the last couple of weeks. It hasn't been super emphasized. There was a point in this game or this season where they did a really good job of tackling, okay? I think that they need to come back to that. It has to be stressed this week, especially when you're trying to tackle Josh Allen. Hit him, don't let him go. Get him around the hip, the thigh area. Not too low, obviously, but get in there, make it so he can't break those tackles. Don't want to be up too high. He's too big and strong to just shrug you off. You have to be able to commit these tackles and get them right. My biggest X factor for the Chiefs on offense is going to be an interesting topic because it's going to be the entire offensive line, okay? It's the entirety of the offensive line. They're going to make or break this game. They can get push in the run game and allow the Chiefs to be efficient in not just running, but creating play action and allowing Mahomes to do what he's done in generating big plays outside of the pocket as well as within the pocket. That's how they win this game. For me, it's down to the offensive line. We've seen them gel. Andrew Wiley has done everything you've asked him to playing tackle this year, solidifying that right side, being a people mover in the run game, honestly, and being able to hold up and get some of the better pass rushers. He just played TJ Watt. He's not playing that level of athlete and that level of player this week. I do think that gives them an edge. And I want to see a little bit of spy out of the Bills defense so that Mahomes can manipulate him. I just want to see him move to his left, throw it back to his right, making a guy evade that spot and open something up. But this entire offensive line, I talked about it earlier in the season. The key for them going forward in the postseason was going to be the offensive line. We didn't know when they were going to gel. Okay, we didn't have a clue when they were going to be able to do that. But they've gelled. They've figured things out, and I think that the fact that you have running backs coming in and out of the lineup, being able to find success here and there, no matter what, shows you that they're gelling. They're blocking everything properly, and they're allowing the running backs to do what they've been able to do in creating space to run. Getting the ball out into some of these guys' hands quickly, getting that screen game going, it's all been a big part of the offensive line's chemistry. Being able to create space in the screen game, all of it comes down to having no one tip off any of the screens, being able to be in the right spot when you have to, and create a pocket around this running back or this wide receiver at times, and get out in front of them. Let them do what they do best. I think the screen game with these running backs is going, and this offensive line is going to continue to be a huge key factor in the rest of the postseason for the Chiefs. So, yeah, just a little sneak peek for you guys. We're going to have film tomorrow. If you guys have anything else that you want to hear about for this upcoming game against the Bills, make sure you hit it in the comment section, something that you're curious about, any extra additional questions you have about either the Bills or the Chiefs, game plan, defense, offense, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and put those in the comments. and that I really want to hear what you guys are looking forward to. What's the biggest thing that you want to see out of this game? From either side. It doesn't really matter. Offense, defense, special teams even. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. I hope you guys are enjoying this week leading up to the Bills and Chiefs Part 2. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. You guys have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.